The Game Boy. The Game Boy is a legend in gaming. It took gaming from the living room to the outdoors. Many handheld systems existed before, such as the Game & Watch and Tiger electronic games, but those were simplistic. The Game Boy was the Nintendo experience, outside, everywhere. The Game Boy was truly a great system. Many great games were released on this system. I am here to celebrate the Game Boy's 30th anniversary. In Game Boy, now you're playing with portable power. The Game Boy's roots could be traced all the way back to 1979, when Gunpei Yokoi, an inventor from Nintendo, saw a bored businessman playing with his calculator. Then, Gunpei got the idea of creating portable video games. He tried his hat in the portable business with the Game & Watch. These were simple games that were cheap but fun. You had to buy each game separate in its own Game & Watch unit. It was a success, but Gunpei wanted to go bigger. He took the concept of the Nintendo Entertainment System, a console with interchangeable cartridges, and put it into the size of a calculator, or mobile phone. The Game Boy started development in 1986 and then released in 1989 with 5 launch titles. After the launch, thousands of amazing games and series debuted on the system. Pokémon, Super Mario Land, Wario Land, Tetris, and so much more. I will pass this video to someone for a few minutes. You may know him.
What is up, guys? It's Solid Nate, and I'm back again, and today I'm going to give some comments on the Game Boy. Bloxed reached out to me when I was doing a live stream and asked me if I'd give some comments on the Game Boy. So I kind of grew up with the Game Boy. Actually, my brother owned it, but I did play his Game Boy, so I know a thing or two about the Game Boy. So what I figured I'd do today is just provide some commentary on some of my favorite games and some of the games that I own. And I'll kind of tell you the differences between like the Super Nintendo games, the NES games, compared to what you're going to get with the Game Boy games. So let me just kind of show you what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to first of all cover Super Mario Land. We're going to move on to Battletoads. Then we're going to go on to Tetris. And lastly, I have this in my Super Game Boy, but it's Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening. So starting out with Super Mario Land, this is just a pretty basic Mario game. It's pretty fun. However, I heard that Nintendo, the publishers or the producers, were a little bit different than the normal Mario games, and you can definitely tell it when you play this. I actually beat it very recently on my channel, I think just a few days ago, and the first thing I noticed was it's very short. I think you can beat the game in about a half an hour. Another thing is too, when you get the mushroom to power up, you kind of like power up over a period of like 2 to 3 seconds. It's not like an instantaneous thing. Same with when you get hit. It's kind of like kind of hard to explain, but when you get hit, it takes like 2 seconds until you're a small Mario, and there's no like stopping. You don't like get hurt, and you just kind of walk through the enemy when you get hit. It just feels different. So that's Super Mario Land on the Game Boy. It's a fun game, and if you have a Game Boy, you pretty much have to have it. Next game I want to talk about is Battletoads on the Game Boy. This is a really fun game. It took me quite a few times to actually be able to beat it. I'd say it probably took me about 10 times to be able to actually beat it. But it's also a very short game. It's about 5 or 6 levels. Pretty hard levels, at least maybe 3 through 5 are pretty tough. The first couple are really no problem, but yeah, definitely like a fun little Battletoads game. Definitely beatable. Really not that tough. But yeah, I highly recommend picking up Battletoads on the Game Boy if you have a Game Boy. There's actually 2 Battletoads games on the Game Boy. This and Battletoads in Ragnarok World. And the second one I just talked about, Ragnarok World, is actually a remake of the NES version. I've never really played that one, but I have played this one. Let's move on to the next game, and that is Tetris. So do not discount this game because it's on the Game Boy. This is a really good Tetris game. I think it's the first Tetris game I ever played. It has good music, it's everything you need in a Tetris game, and highly recommend Tetris on the Game Boy. Really good for portable Tetris action. And lastly, let's even take this out of the Super Game Boy. The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening. Now, I really like this game. This is a great Zelda game. There's a lot of length to it, there's a lot of depth to it, and it has a great storyline. It's very memorable, great music. You know what? It's just something you have to try it out if you're a Zelda fan. Really good Zelda game. Highly recommended. So alright guys, thanks for watching. The Game Boy is a great system with a huge library of games. If you don't know about the Game Boy, there's a game for everybody on the Game Boy, absolutely. So I highly recommend checking out the Game Boy. Until next time guys, take care.
Thank you, Solid Nate. Anyway, let's get on with the main point of the video. The Game Boy lasted until 1998 in America and 2001 in Japan. A console that lasts that long must be important. The Game Boy spawned many other consoles such as the Game Boy Color and Advance. The Game Boy series would be replaced with the DS line in 2004. It's crazy how revolutionary the Game Boy was. The Game Boy was a legend. We'll always be playing with portable power.